Hi. I did BC 25, so November just gone, I turned 1, because 1 year ago I got my life back. I was married for 24 years. The last 15 of my marriage was pretty bad, if I say so. My husband was clinically depressed, and 15 years before he actually died from his depression, when we realised I'd gone line dancing with my daughter and thought there was something wrong. He was a quiet bloke, but he was exceptionally quiet that night. So I came back after an hour. I just knew there was something wrong. And he'd taken every beta blocker he had in the house. So I had to throw my daughter, who was 6, at a neighbour and take him to Wigan Infirmary, which he used to call it sitting with the grate unwashed if he went to Wigan. And he sat in Wigan Infirmary, not really bothered that he was there. I had to leave him there for the night and come home. And when I come through my own front door, I thought to myself how lonely I felt, because that's what depression does for everybody. But he was getting help for his depression, wasn't he? He was in the hospital. But if you're living with somebody who's got depression, there isn't any help for you really, because they think that's the person that needs it, but it affects everybody. And so he carried on trying to take his life all through my marriage. And the last year before he died, I came home early because I worked nights, and he was in the bathroom with a knife, trying to slit his wrists. He didn't know I was coming home an hour earlier. That was terrible, absolutely terrible to witness. And the doctor actually got him put in a mental ward that day. And yet again, it was the loneliness. I got a phone call from him, from this mental ward, pleading with me to get him back out because he felt I had put him there and I hadn't put him there. And there was nothing I could do about it at all. But life just went that way then, because he couldn't help himself. And I had a car accident that nearly took my daughter, me and my grandchild out. Took my car away but didn't take us. And he came to the hospital and didn't put his arm round us, wasn't really interested in us. And that's when I decided I might love him, but because of his illness he didn't love me. And I decided I wanted to leave. And he'd always said if I ever left him, he would take his own life and make me watch him die. So I got to the point where I was fed up of being in a miserable house. So I took myself off to Norfolk, which is where I now live. My brother's house, had my birthday there because I wanted to be happy. But when I came back, I knew there was something wrong, because my milk was on the doorstep, the curtains were closed, and he put a key in every lock, so I couldn't get in. I tried to get in, I threatened him through the window and everything, couldn't get in. The police had to break in. He was still alive because he was a squash player, had a very, very fit body, and he stayed alive for another 2.5 weeks. And I did go and visit him in hospital, but I could only go when his family weren't around because they blamed me. So I was getting death threats and all sorts. So life became shit really. And he died, and I'd already moved in with my family in Norfolk then. And I thought, yeah, I'm all right now. But the anniversary of his death came and went, and the anniversary of his death came and went. And on the second one, I was so depressed, because I started to listen to people, the voices in my head that said, I played a part in taking his life. And I know now I didn't, because I've done BC, but that was really taking me out. And I started to suffer with depression that badly that I couldn't lift my head up. I was looking at the carpet, I wanted to give you eye contact. I was letting go of my own life, really. And my family, I've got the best family in the world. My brother had done a property course and heard Richard speaking. And I actually said to him, I need some help, I can't cope with my life. And he said, I know, and I think you've got you just the thing. I've got your life coaching course. I thought, you know, I didn't want one of them, I wanted perfume, you know. I really didn't want to come, but they lured me with the food and said, you'll get a meal. I thought, day out meal? Okay. So I was very quiet in the car because I really didn't want to be here. I walked in, like Richard said, I had an opinion because my script was well in my head, and I thought, look at these people, they're all power dressing, they're nothing like you. You don't fit in here, you don't belong here. I went and sat on the second row because I didn't want anybody to pick on me. And then, of course, Richard gets on the stage. He's got hair like my mother used to have, and I love my wild hair, swept back.
Oh, look at me, she's struggled.
So he started to talk, and then he started to get upset because he was telling us about his mum having shock treatment. And I'd been asked to sign for shock treatment for my husband, and I wouldn't sign for it because I felt it was his choice. And his family, that was another reason why they weren't happy with me, because they felt I hadn't helped him save himself. But I'd been trying to help him for years, and I just couldn't. And so Richard started talking, and they got upset. Well, in them days, I used to be upset every 5 minutes, and I used to see it as me being mad and soft. But now realise that I'm a sensitive person, and it's a strength, it's not a weakness. But listening to Richard talk, I thought he was only talking to me. I was the only person sat out there. Everything he said, I related to it. And I went to have my lunch, but in them days I didn't sort of eat in front of people because I thought they'd all think there's a fat girl there eating. But that was because my husband always had that in my head. We went anywhere, I wasn't allowed a pudding because I was fat. So I had this thing about food which only really came to light when I did the course. I didn't realise I had a problem with food. I must have just come for it because I didn't have the love, so I loved food. It was a different thing. And eventually I decided, after talking to the lady at the back there, Meg, and to Tom, yeah, I'd like to do this. So I sat down to sign up for it, and they told me how much it was, and I got up again because I hadn't got any money. And I was going to walk off, and my sister-in-law said, what's wrong? I said, do you know how much this is? She went, Ray. My brother just went like this with his card. Paid for my course. He saved my life that day when he did that. 10 days after that, I was on a course, a BC course, and yet again my script was going 10 to the dozen. I pulled up nice cars outside, nicely dressed people. I thought, no, these are not like you, these people. And then it started to open up and talk, and I realised we were all just like each other. It didn't matter how we were dressed or anything. We all had a story. And as the week went on, these people who you're on your course with become very, very important to you. Very important to you. And all this hugging you see them do, I didn't like that at first, but I love it now. I love it now. You just, I can't explain how I felt. It was like somebody lifted a dark cloud off me. On sausage machine day, I was exhausted after the morning session. I was elated after the afternoon session. I went into the bathroom and I had a lovely top on me, a bright coloured top, because we were going out for a meal. And I looked in the mirror, which I never looked in mirrors, I only did the top of my head to see my hair was straight. And I looked in this mirror and I went, oh, hello. It's like I've never seen myself before. And I was like, you know, I was 52, I hadn't seen myself before. And I thought, hey, when you smile, you're not too bad, are you? You know. And from there on, I went back into the room. I didn't know what this badge was about. It's sitting on a table. But I realised when I looked in this mirror and smiled that I'd actually got there. And I put my badge on. And I went to get a drink, and Richard made a big thing about me putting my badge on. Because I realised I was there, what it was all about. And I've never stopped smiling since. I went to the Christmas party this year, and to be in a room full of people, you know them all, they all love you, you love them, it's the best feeling. It's like we've all had loads of drugs and we're all so high as fuck. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And you can see people in reception the next day before we went home, married couples who weren't speaking to each other. And they were like, making faces at each other because we were so loud, but we were loud because we were all really, really happy. Because that's what it gives you. It gives you happiness, and it does grow stronger and stronger, and it does pass on. My daughter, who thought I'd joined a cult, now thinks, when I'm upset with anything, she goes, do your hand thing, Mum. because she understands if I've got a problem and I don't do my hand thing, I'm not sorting it out. So it does pass on. She's happy because I'm happy. She don't have any problems anymore. And I now know that what Gordon did was terrible and he couldn't help it. But what he did gave me a purpose, because I've been to a few of these recharge days and got up here, and I know people have come to me afterwards and said, you've made a big difference to me and mine. And I can't tell you how that makes me feel. It's better than any money. It's amazing. And I come away from these like I've been plugged into the national grid. It just gave me my life back. And if you've got the money, please do it. Please do it. It's the best thing you'll ever do.